The Royal Rumble is fast approaching on January 29th, but WWE has already set up quite a bit for the pay-per-view. On the Raw side of things, The Miz and Maurice will take on Edge and Beth Phoenix in a mixed tag match, and Bobby Lashley will challenge Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. Tonight's episode of Raw continued to build up those storylines while also setting up for a few other potential additions to the card. Tonight's show featured a triple threat match to determine the number one contender to Becky Lynch's Raw Women's Championship with Bianca Belair, Doudrop, and Liv Morgan. We also saw RK Bro defend the Raw tag titles against the Alpha Academy, and Alexa Bliss began her journey back to Raw. Let's take a look at everything that happened on tonight's show, for this is Ridiculously Raw. Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and Streamer.com. Today, I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher and the phenom Michael Bullock. Apologies for the late start. Hit a small snag on my end when it comes to my computer here, but everything's up and running properly now, so I apologize for the wait to you fans and to you guys, MF and Bullock. So let's not beat around the bush. Let's get into what we're going to get into tonight, which is our review of Monday Night Raw and a special Tony's Take, which will feature my review of the Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill pay-per-view. And we start off with tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw, which was live from the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, exclusively on the USA Network, as always. And we started it off with an in-ring segment. WWE Champion Brock Lesnar and his advocate Paul Heyman, interrupted by Bobby Lashley, and I guess you could say his advocate, MVP. And all I can say, the exchange between Lashley and Lesnar was simple, but it worked perfectly. Lesnar's sense of humor shined in this segment, and the post-match attack helped make Lashley look like a real threat. WWE has to fill 2 more weeks before the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, so it's good that this storyline isn't being rushed. Having the two competitors wait until the pay-per-view to make their first contact, I believe, would be the best decision here. So there isn't much more to say on that. So, gentlemen, if you want to get into this, we can. If not, we can simply move on if you want. So,
I will openly say that this was a solid segment. Like you said, it was short, sweet, straight to the point. That's exactly what it needs to be. Neither man are really strong on the mic. I just think that they did a good job of how they handled the situation. I think MVP and Paul Heyman are going to shine the next couple of weeks leading into this, and then I think we're going to get a really good match out of this heading into the Royal Rumble.
Bullock, a quick thought, or you can move on. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, I mean, the interaction I thought was good, but I mean, like you said, not to rush into things. I mean, you still got some time to fill before the Royal Rumble, so to really build this, and maybe we'll get some more mic work out of Heyman and MVP as the weeks progress, leading up to the big match at the Royal Rumble. So a nice start, but Bobby Lashley showed that he is a threat, but I don't know. I mean, Brock Lesnar's faced some tough challengers before, and Bobby Lashley, I'm sure, will be no different, but by golly, it'll be one that I think we're all going to enjoy. So let's just move on, Florio.
Yep, and I want to update you all on the College Football Playoff National Championship game. Number 3, Georgia, leading Alabama 19-18, 8:09 to go in the fourth quarter. If anything happens, we'll cut in and we'll let you know. But let's get into our first action of the night, which MF is going to start off on. And MF, I'm going to set this up perfectly for you. It was the battle for the Raw Tag Team Championship. The champions, RK Bro, Randy Orton, and Riddle, defending against the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis. Winners of the match in roughly 9 minutes. And new Raw Tag Team Champions, Chad Gable, Otis, the Alpha Academy. History has been made in the Philadelphia tonight.
Yes, indeed. History indeed been made. Unprecedented crowning of a new Raw Tag Team Champions, the Alpha Academy, in a solid match. I could easily give this about 2.5 to 2 3/4, close to 3. It was solid for what it was worth, and I like the story that they were trying to build. Otis and Chad Gable trying to work over Riddle, trying to keep Randy Orton at bay. Try not to have him get involved in the match at all. But the minute Orton got in, all heck broke loose, and you kind of started to see a little bit of an explosion in the match. However, Otis was able to navigate through the murky waters, got a blind tag in when Orton looked like he was going vintage Orton, and was able to catch the Viper and actually defend him by hitting him with that his version of a power slam, getting the 1, 2, 3, and winning the Raw Tag Team Championships for his team. This was an unprecedented victory, a big win for him, and for Otis, probably the biggest win of his career, other than winning the Money in the Bank. And for Chad Gable, he etches his name yet again in tag team history. Of course, everybody remembers American Alpha with him and Jason Jordan. He won the NXT Tag Team Championship. I do believe he also won the Raw or SmackDown.
SmackDown.
And the SmackDown Tag Team titles. So Chad Gable becomes a Triple Crown champion. He now has won all 3 titles: the Raw Tag Team Championship, the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, and the NXT titles. And for Otis, his first major championship in WWE.
And pinned Randy Orton clean, oh, by the way.
Yeah, and I was about to say that.
That.
Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more to say. Normally, I would have said if Riddle would have lost the match, if Riddle was the one that would have ate the pin, you could have done something with Orton there. Maybe Orton gets a little teed off. You didn't listen to me. You didn't listen to me. And then we might see the blow off. But on this one, Orton only has himself to blame for this, because he was the one that lost the titles and lost it clean, like Floyo alluded to. So, no, shocking turn of events. And like we said, a crowning of a new tag team champion. So, Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, history was definitely made. 2.5 to 3 is my rating for this, and yeah, what can you say? I mean, Chad Gable's now a Triple Crown champion when it comes to the tag team division. And Otis finally wins a championship on the main roster. I mean, and like you said, his biggest win since winning the Money in the Bank. So definitely good for Otis. So there's really nothing more to say. So Wario, it is yours.
Yeah, it puts him at, this is now number 1. I mean, his 3 biggest wins. Number 3 was when he beat Dolph Ziggler at WrestleMania 36 in the Performance Center and won the heart of Mandy Rose in the process. Number 2 was when he won the Money in the Bank in that in the most unique Money in the Bank match in history. Relive it on Peacock, Money in the Bank 2020. That took place at the WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. And then tonight, definitely the biggest win. He not only won the titles for his team, but he did it by pinning one of the all-time greats, a no doubt future first ballot Hall of Famer in Randy Orton. How many guys, gentlemen, can say, I beat Randy Orton clean for a championship?
Not that many. I mean, you got to think Cena,
Mark Henry.
I mean that list is not that long. There's not that
Triple
many.
H.
Yeah, there's not that many guys that can claim that moment. So, Rey Mysterio for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania.
22.
I mean, like I said, there's not many guys that you can say. And Otis, like we said, career moment for him right now.
Biggest win of his career. I mean, it's one thing to win a championship, but to beat the guy who has been one of the most dominant champions over the last 20 years in the Viper Randy Orton. Wow. That is something. I mean, we always thought that if RK-Bro was going to eventually lose the titles, that Riddle was going to be the one that would drop them. No, it was Orton. Otis pinned. Let me say that again. Otis pinned Randy Orton clean. Randy Orton. Unbelievable. 3 stars. Fun match with a good pace and some solid wrestling from all 4 men. The pop Orton got when he tagged in was huge, and it seemed to get him pumped up as he hit Chad Gable with a few power moves. Great to see Otis finally getting a real push again after his singles push was cut short. Him winning and then losing Money in the Bank, and then losing the Money in the Bank briefcase seemed like a death sentence, but he has made a great comeback with this new tag team. Chad Gable, as always, remains one of the most consistent workers in the industry. He deserves this moment of triumph, no doubt about that. Solid 3 stars, no doubt about that. All right. And then from there, we had a 6-man tag team match. United States Heavyweight Champion, Damian Priest, who, oh, by the way, threw his name into the Men's Royal Rumble match. So we will see the Archer of Infamy in that match, along with the Street Profits. And they went up against the Dirty Dogs and Apollo Crews. And where he goes, Commander Aziz goes. Heel team wins the match, 8.5 minutes. Michael Bullock, Dolph Ziggler gets the zigzag for it to pick up the win for his team.
Yeah, this was he got the big win there for his team. So, I thought this was a fine match here. I'm going to give this about 2.5 stars. So, a big win for the heel team and momentum for Dolph Ziggler, of course, and his team. So, there's really nothing more to say. So, move on, Florio.
Absolutely. 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. Match was fine, but a little pointless. I mean, none of the feuds featured here were advanced by this result, so this felt like a filler match or segment. With 6 guys in limited time, there was only so much anybody could do. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins each had some cool moments, and so did Apollo Crews, but nothing else really stood out. But fine, solid, but not overly spectacular. I'll put it that way. 2.5, 2 3/4. MF, your thoughts?
Agreed. 2.5, 2 3/4. It was a solid match. But I do like the fact that they're really building Ziggler up. I mean, this is you want to talk about a journeyman in WWE, has been there for a long time, won almost every major title to win in WWE. He was a world.
He's a Grand Slammer.
Yeah, he is a Grand Slammer. So for him to get another win, that actually you can legitimately say keeps him in line to get a shot at the United States Heavyweight Championship sometime down the line. Even though I don't believe he pinned Damian Priest tonight, so we can't legitimately say championship committee moment.
No.
But you can definitely say it actually does keep him relatively within the realm of him possibly getting a shot at the United States title. Plus, you could also think that with this performance that maybe Ziggler might have, I wouldn't call him a favorite for the Royal Rumble, but you would probably say he could end up getting a very good performance, or he could look like could be like a star in the upcoming Royal Rumble. So that would be my thought about that. So go ahead, Floyo. It's back to you.
Yeah, Ziggler has won all the titles. I mean, he is a world heavyweight champion. He is a former U.S. champion, Intercontinental tag team champion as well. And, of course, Mr. Money in the Bank at one time as well. So we can't forget that. So, yeah. All right. So with that being said, let's move on to our next matchup. Well, okay, here we go. Priest. Okay. Then we had another in-ring segment. Seth Rollins, of course, as we all know, Seth Rollins, much to the delight of MF, will be challenging the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble, and we all know how very happy that made MF. But he got interrupted by Big E, and Big E challenged him to a match. Rollins accepted, and here it was. It was Big E versus Seth Rollins. And winner of the match, in an even 18 minutes, Seth Rollins via the curb stomp. I got to call it fight of the night here. I'm going to give this in excess of 4.25, teetering on 4.5. But I'm leaning more towards 4.25. Seth Rollins and Big E work so well together, and that counts for both on the mic and in the ring. Their promo exchange was great, and their match was even better. These guys have been in the ring together more than a few times, but this is one of the few times they have had a chance to work a singles bout together in what seems like a long time. They clearly wanted to make a good impression and did not disappoint. This was impromptu, but by the time it was over, this felt like a bitter feud between two longtime rivals. WWE has a chance to make this a good feud if it wants to. I mean, these two have history. Go back to NXT. Seth Rollins was the inaugural NXT champion. Who ended the reign? It was Big E. So definitely a lot of history with these two, but nonetheless, Rollins winning, I feel, was the right call because you definitely want to give him the momentum going into the match with Roman at the Royal Rumble. So 4.25, teetering on 4.5 for me. Fight of the night, no doubt about it. So not much more to say except MF. This has to go down maybe as one of the best, if not the greatest, impromptu match I've ever seen.
Yeah, best impromptu matches. So we had 4.25 stars, no doubt about it. I hope you guys enjoyed that battle because something tells me we might be on the verge of a rivalry starter that could get us all the way possibly to WrestleMania. Now, I know a lot of people are like, what? Hold on. Here's the reason why I'm saying that. At first, I was hearing about unification and Roman versus Brock and everything else. And, you know, that's fine, whatever. We'll get it, and they'll go from there. But the problem that I saw, or the thing that I see now, is that the next thing I'm now hearing is that we might have a possibility where this could go all the way, and we now have a situation where they're talking about possibly flipping belts. And what that means is the first thing that we would have would be that, okay, Roman drops the belt to Seth Rollins. Rollins takes the belt back to Monday Night Raw, the Universal title. But more importantly, it would set up that Brock would be able to go to SmackDown, back to SmackDown, with the WWE Championship. And then we'll have that battle we'll have between Brock and Roman, the WWE title at WrestleMania, and the Universal title would now be exclusively to Monday Night Raw, which means that belt that was all blue goes back to red. And on top of that, with Rollins as the champion, that would set up, now this is what I'm thinking, Big E winning the Royal Rumble and going after Rollins for the Universal title, Big E gets the moment in the spotlight back in Dallas, and all is right with the world. Big E now becomes the Universal Champion now, and then that would legitimately give him that he could say that I had both the WWE and Universal titles in his possession and continue the reign of Big E as the face of Monday Night Raw, because, like we said, he got shafted because of Roman getting COVID. The only way to do it is to let Big E win the Rumble, win the title at WrestleMania, and then restart his push that, for being such a good little soldier or being a good guy for what he did, you reward him by doing it that way. So just my thoughts and everything else. And yes, Michael Bullock did hit on the chat. I'm gonna make it official. Touchdown Georgia. They have extended their lead 26-18. About 4.5 minutes left in the national
3:33.
3:33 left in the national championship game. Next victim. No. Woof, woof. Sound the bark of the bulldog of Georgia, made in Georgia. They could be on the verge of winning the national championship. Not over yet. So let's not go there. But they are in prime position now to win the national championship for the first time in almost almost a half a century. But there's still time left. Bama is not dead yet. So Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, and like you said, if this score holds up, Uga could be taking a big bite out of the Crimson Tide. But like you said, still plenty of time. Just about approaching the 3-minute mark in the fourth quarter. So this is probably one of the best impromptu matches that I've seen. 4.25 stars, definitely the fight of the night. I mean, just something about Big E and Seth Rollins. I mean, this makes it for a very good quality match. So, yeah, that scenario you brought up, Fletch. I mean, I could see that happening, but there's so many things they could do. But we'll just have to wait and see if WWE actually goes through with what you said. So we'll find out all the answers. Obviously, come Royal Rumble. So. Yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to say. So let's move on, Florio.
Yes, sir. And 26-18, and if this holds up, what a couple of months it could be for the state of Georgia. I mean, first, MF's Braves winning the World Series. Could a college football playoff national championship be next? That would be something, but it's not over yet. So, anyways, getting into this, then we had an in-ring segment. Sarah Schreiber interviewing with an interview segment with Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH. Oh boy, this disintegrated in a hurry. This disintegrated quickly because what happened here was Rhea said, we had a great ride, but it's time for us to move on. Nikki wasn't having it. And and then, they had a hug and everything else, and Nikki posed to the crowd, and I told Bullock this during our Raw chat. I thought for sure Rhea was gonna turn on Nikki, but no. Nikki ASH turns on Rhea Ripley. MF, holy heel turn, Batman. Could this be maybe the first sign? Could we be seeing the return possibly of the Twisted Sister? Oh boy.
Possible. If that's the case, this will be very interesting to see. I hope so. I that was my favorite gimmick. That was my favorite gimmick for Nikki, was that Twisted Sister of Insanity when they first came out. And we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But relatively amazing. really nothing bad to say. And yeah, number of things could play out. There's a lot of factors here, but like we said, we thought it was going to be Rhea Ripley that was going to turn on Nikki and continue that superhero gimmick, but no, it went the other way around. Nikki turns on Rhea. Maybe that's just a sign of saying, well, I think the gimmick is over, and I think it's time that we turn you back. It's ran its course, and I think it's a little bit of a disappointment, but I do believe that this could be an ultimate payoff, and I'm very, very, very excited. Oh,
it's over. George has done it.
So,
pick 6.
Is it gonna be a big pick 6? Oh,
pick 6.
Hello,
George is gonna conquer the Crimson Tide.
Hello, National Championship.
Can I get a mid-pick 6? Ba 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 ba. Georgia took the national championship in this city. Touchdown, Bulldogs! Wow!
They did it.
Well, they did it.
They really did it. We'll have a lot more. We will have a lot more to say on this on Thursday night.
Oh yeah.
And we're gonna start.
The look on the Alabama fans' faces pretty much says it all.
And there it is, 2022, the year of the dog. It is indeed. Holy, you know what? I gotta say it, man. They were the bridesmaids, never could get there. They came so close year after year after year, and they were always talked about. Oh, Alabama this, Alabama that. Alabama is the flag bearer, the standard bearer of college football. How we have a dynasty and the whole 9 yards. And Georgia's like, no, we're gonna take this. Give me this trophy. This is coming back to the hedges in Athens, and it's about to happen. 54 seconds left, and the national championship is going south to the made in Georgia Bulldogs, boys. The Peachtree State
just took a big bite out of the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, they took a dump on that elephant tonight. Holy cow! I can't believe it.
Well, Georgia fans,
and I've heard this, and I've heard this from people. They said that if Kirby Smart doesn't win this one here, he'll never win a national championship. Well, to those people who said that if he doesn't win it, that he'll never win one, how do you like that now?
He's got one. He's going to get it, man. You know what? And I feel so happy for Kirby, man. Kirby's a good head coach. He's one of the good guys. He's worked his tail off. And, and it had to happen.
Look at the starting quarterback. You can see the emotion coming out of him.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is that, and to talk about him, I mean, think about it, man. Everybody was talking about JT Daniels. This guy was a backup. He wasn't even the starter. He was the backup. He had a couple of rough games. And by all accounts, he didn't have a great national championship game. He had a couple of mistakes in the game. Had a fumble. There was a couple of intentional groundings and whatnot. And now he's about to do something that no Georgia guy has done in almost 40 to 50 years. He's about to bring a national championship to Georgia, man. And yeah, go ahead. Let the tears flow, kid. You deserve it. Everything that you worked for, everything you dreamt about, it's happening. It's your moment. You are going to be named the best quarterback in America right now. You're the best quarterback in America by winning this game tonight. You're forever a national champion. They'll never take that away from you. Floyo, it's yours.
No, indeed not.
And I'll tell you this: Bryce Young won the Heisman Trophy. This is one moment I'm sure he's going to want to forget.
absolutely he'll want to forget it. Absolutely. So, but nonetheless, we will have a lot more to say on this come Thursday night on Strictly Sports. As we will start that show with our recap of this game, and then we will also preview the 6 NFL playoff games that comprise Super Wildcard Weekend, and especially on our side of the ledger, we're stacked. But that's not to say the NFC is not stacked either. I mean, I think this Wildcard Weekend is even more stacked than last year was. I'll say that for sure. But nonetheless, yeah, all right. For me, ASH. Bullock, did you get your thoughts on what we saw with Nikki ASH with the heel turn on Rhea Ripley that we didn't see coming?
Oh, no, I didn't yet. But yeah,
right.
I mean, like you said, I mean, I think, I think the Nikki AS gimmick was a disappointment, but maybe turning her back to the Twisted Sister that we've seen, that crazy girl gimmick that she was, I think this would do her wonders. So, and maybe a feud with Rhea. So we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. So, Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. Heel turn, I think it's going to do wonders. And I personally would love to see her go back to the Sanity character. And, we'll have to wait and see on that. But nonetheless, surprise twist. I mean, we always talk about, one of the many problems of WWE nowadays is predictability, and this is definitely one of those rare times where we see something unpredictable. I mean, all of us thought that Rhea was gonna be the one to do the number, but no, Nikki did the number. Wow. All right. What's a show without cutouts here? Omos squashes some ham and egger named Nick Sanders in 1:35. Delicious squash. I mean, Omos looked as dominant as he ever has, but that was easy considering WWE put him in the ring with a walking stick figure. The strategy with Giants is always just to always pair them up with smaller opponents to make them look even bigger. WWE should go a different way with Omos and book him against other big guys so he can look even more dominant by beating them. Just a thought. Then we had the Cutting Edge, Edge, and his guest was his wife, the Glamazon, Beth Phoenix. 35 combined championship reigns between the Rated R Superstar and the Glamazon, whereas for Miz and Maurice, it's a respectable 22. Edge has 31 championship title reigns combined. Beth has 4. And on the other side, Miz has 20 combined championship reigns, and Maurice has 2. So, segment was fine. I mean, it's fine for a Royal Rumble, even that has a lot of bigger things happening. But I know for some, it's tough to get excited about seeing baby faces get the better of Miz when baby faces get the better of him all the time. But it was an all right segment. So it could have been better. Especially, I was kind of hoping to see a little bit of some angry Edge stuff, but oh well. AJ Styles against Austin Theory. AJ Styles wins the match via disqualification in 7 minutes even due to outside interference from Grayson Waller. If it's all right, guys, I'm going to bypass this because what we saw here was good, but it wasn't enough. More of the match was occupied by a commercial break than it was by wrestling, and that's a problem. The inclusion of Waller continues his storylines with Styles from NXT, but a lot of fans might be lost since the ratings indicate only a percentage of the Raw audience even watches that show anymore. But tomorrow night on NXT 2.0 in the main event, AJ Styles goes one-on-one with Grayson Waller. So, and then from there, the main event of the evening, the triple threat match to determine the number 1 contender for Becky Lynch in the Raw Women's Championship at the Royal Rumble. Bianca Belair, Doudrop, Liv Morgan, winner of the match, 14 minutes and 45 seconds. Doudrop Doudrop wins the match. And, talk about a surprise development here. So, I believe Bullock leads off on this next relevant thing. So, Michael Bullock, I mean, this is something we talked about during our Raw chat. MF, you're hearing this for the first time. Bullock, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we had our Raw chat earlier, didn't we say that Doudrop winning was highly unlikely because heel matches never work? But, well, I guess WWE must have heard us, and they're giving it to us anyway. So, can they make it work?
You know what? I'm interested to see if they do make this work. I mean, a few times heel versus heel matches, they do work. They do tend to work, and the one that really sticks out to me was obvious, and this goes back to the 2001 Royal Rumble when you had Triple H against Kurt Angle for the WWE Championship, and that turned out to be a really good match, no doubt about it. But I'm willing to give this a chance to see if it'll actually work. But as the old saying goes, I'll believe it when I do see it. So, for this match, I'll give it about maybe 3.5 stars is my rating for it. I mean, yes, the outcome was a little surprising. I mean, I thought maybe they would give another run with Bianca Belair against Becky Lynch, or maybe have Liv Morgan face Becky Lynch, and maybe a third time would be the charm. So, yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to say. So I'll give it a chance. So nothing more to say, and it is official, guys.
It's
Georgia
official.
is your 2022 college football playoff national champions.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And
like we just said moments ago, good for Kirby Smart. He deserves it.
Yes, indeed. And all I can say is somewhere right now the committee is not happy. That's all I'm going to say about that, because you know how much they love Bama and gave them every advantage they could, but not tonight.
Oh, come on, Florio. Don't start with that nonsense.
That's just my cynical side, but that's just my Jesse side coming out. But that's all right. All kidding. I'm just kidding on that. But all kidding aside, like I said, we'll get more into that Thursday night. But for right now, second best fight of the night, 3.5 to 3 3/4. This match had the perfect pace and some great spots for all three women, but the finish left a little to be desired. Lynch attacking Belair protects the EST from this loss, but it also makes Doudrop's win mean just a little less. Liv Morgan was the standout in this performance. She has gotten really good at some of her signature moves and is starting to incorporate more offense into her repertoire. That's really all there is to say here. Surprise outcome. Doudrop gets the shot. So 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4. Second best fight of the night. MF, honestly, did you really have Doudrop winning this? None of us did.
No, but if you really think about it, in hindsight, it actually protects Liv and it also protects Bianca. You honestly didn't want them to. If you didn't want them to get the next shot at the title, this was kind of possibly the best possible way that you could have done it. It is what it is at that point. Yes, it was a nice win for Doudrop, but like you said, Becky kind of influenced the end. It looked like Bianca was on the verge of winning and getting a shot at the title, and then Becky stuck her nose where it didn't belong. But in the hindsight of her doing that, you just put yourself in now grave danger because of the fact that now you know, if it would have been Liv, okay, that's one thing. Bianca is another thing. But now you really put yourself on a big matchup, and for Doudrop, it's now the biggest match of her career. I mean, this is the biggest moment of her career, other than her fighting for the Queen's Crown tournament, which was the Queen's Crown tournament final against Zelina Vega. This is without a doubt the biggest match of Doudrop's career already. and she's already been here just a little bit, not very long in her career. And my God, Doudrop now gets a shot at at the belt, the big belt, the Raw Women's title. So I mean, yeah, it's gonna be one heck of a match. We'll wait and see how it plays out. Congratulations, Doudrop, and yeah, Floyd, back to you.
All right, we'll get into our overall review here, and I'll tell you what. I mean, this was a decent show that was fairly newsworthy, thanks to the crowning of new Raw Tag Team Champions and the Royal Rumble developments. A bit more filler, but we've seen a lot more of it in past years when Raw has been up against the College Football Playoff National Championship game. And I'm very curious to see how they approach next week's show, airing opposite the first ever Monday Night NFL playoff game. They may need to take a business as usual approach since they are getting so close to the Royal Rumble, but we'll have to wait and see. In-ring action on this week's show had more highs than lows. This main event and Rollins versus Big E, definitely the biggest highlights, no question about it. And of course, the crowning of new Raw Tag Team Champions in the process. A couple of good segments here and there. So I'll give this in excess of 7, maybe 7.5 at the absolute best, but at least a 7 for me. So very decent show considering what they went up against tonight. So there isn't much more to say on this. So MF, Rollins and Big E stole the show. Main event, close second. Crowning of new champions, developments in the Royal Rumble. Definitely a recipe for a 7.5 out of 10 show for me.
Agreed. I mean, 7 out of 10. Solid night. Good performance. I think everything turned out pretty well for the most part. And yeah, congratulations to all the guys. And for Monday Night Raw, well done. You were going up against a really good big time national championship game. For the most part, wasn't really the best. I'm going to honestly say, I'm not trying to be a cynic. I know Bullock kind of gave you the business about it. But I kind of have to say it wasn't really any type of 5-star classic. Wasn't really that much Shakespearean drama. We're starting to get there a little bit, but at the end, Georgia just did what they needed to do to get the job done. But as far as this night goes, no, this was a solid night, and yeah, Monday Night Raw had a major hurdle that they needed it to climb, and for the most part, I thought they hurdled it pretty well. So yeah, so on to NXT 2.0 tomorrow, and for WWE SmackDown on Friday. So yeah, solid show. Mike Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I'll give it a 7 out of 10 as well. I mean, like you said, there were a lot more highs than lows than for this. I mean, especially with the matches. I mean, we only had like only one really bad match, and I was obviously Omos squashing and Hammenegger. So, but all in all, I thought it was a good show. So nothing else to say. Florio, it's your Tony Steak time.
Very special Tony's Take, Bullock. Absolutely. I usually do Impact Wrestling in 205 Live. I'm going to get back into that next week because here we have the Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill pay-per-view that went down this past Saturday night from the Bomb Factory in Dallas, Texas, exclusively on pay-per-view. And a lot of developments came out of this. For Impact Wrestling, Hard to Kill is an attitude, but Saturday night, it was the title of the first pay-per-view of 2022, a show headlined by a blockbuster three-way dance pitting world champion Moose against top contenders Matt Cardona and W. Morrissey. History was made in the first ever Women's Ultimate X match. 10 top stars waged hardcore war, and Deonna Purrazzo and Mickie James settled their intense rivalry over the Knockouts Championship in a brutal, violent Texas death match. Who wore gold by night's end, enjoyed bragging rights, and set themselves up for a banner year? Find out now with this recap. And first things first, we have a new voice of Impact Wrestling. As you know, Matt Striker was released late last week. And for all you WWE fans and MF, and for all of you SmackDown Live fans, you know this gentleman very well. Tom Hanafan, a.k.a. Tom Phillips, is now the new voice of Impact Wrestling. Great hire. That's all I can say about that. So if it wasn't going to be Stryker anymore, I'm glad it's him. And he definitely deserves another chance after he got the, no pun intended, raw deal around WrestleMania last year. So good for him. Deserves it. All right. We had a couple of pre-show matches. Jake Something versus Madman Fulton. And Jake Something actually won the match, 5 minutes and 25 seconds. I'm not going to get into that because it's a pre-show match. And then a second pre-show match. It featured Speedball Mike Bailey versus Chris Bay versus Ace Austin versus Laredo Kid in a four-way match. Speedball Mike Bailey wins the match 8 minutes and 10 seconds. And with that, we move on to the main card. And we started it off with the first ever Women's Ultimate X match, where the winner gets the #1 contendership for the Impact Knockouts Championship. Rosemary, Lady Frost, Digital Media Champion Jordan Grace, Chelsea Green, Alicia Edwards, and Tasha Steelz. Winner of the match in an even 9 minutes, Tasha Steelz. Ton of pressure on these 6 women to go out and have a match that even the best to ever lace a pair of boots have struggled in. They showed guts, creativity, and a balls-to-the-wall mentality as they executed some jaw-dropping spots. Was the match perfect? No. Were there a few messy or scary spots that were more a reflection of nerves and unfamiliarity with the structure? Sure. But it was a great way to start the show. Furthermore, it helped elevate Tasha Steelz as a singles performer, something fans have been waiting for since the breakup of Fire and Flava months ago. She's a star in the making, as is Lady Frost, and both showed up and showed out in a strong first ever by the Knockouts division in a high-profile gimmick match of this sort. Solid 3 stars. X Division Championship on the line. Trey Miguel defending against Steve Macklin. Winner of the match in 12 minutes and 50 seconds. And still, the X Division champion, Trey Miguel. Macklin lost, so it's the back of the line from Macklin. He can no longer challenge since Miguel is still the champion. And as long as Trey Miguel holds the title, Macklin can't hold it. Macklin can't go after it. 3 3/4 to 4 stars. Miguel and Macklin had one of the best rivalries entering the pay-per-view, and it absolutely paid off with an early match of the night. Hard-hitting, physical, and with all the drama you want out of a championship bout. Fantastic bout that elevated the performance and title. Macklin was ruthless in his attack of Miguel, while the champ was gutsy and resilient, then proved he knew when to up the intensity on his end to secure the win. On a night in which it was originally scheduled to be on the Countdown show, before the inspiration was pulled from the card due to COVID-19 protocols, this X Division match may very well have stolen the show. And Macklin is no pun intended, forgotten son no more. All right. MF, I'm going to bring you in on this next one because we had something very special here. For the first time ever in an Impact Wrestling ring, the Ring of Honor World Championship was defended on this show. The reigning champion, Jonathan Gresham, defended the title against longtime Impact Wrestling mainstay Chris Saban in a Pure Rules match. MF, I know you know all about that.
Normally a Pure Rules match, depending on what you do in a battle, normally it's 15 minutes, 30 minutes, but because the Ring of Honor World title was on the line, it would have been a 1 hour time limit. Now, here's the thing in Pure Rules. Pure Rules is basically straight up one-on-one with the honor code. However, you're allowed 3 rope breaks during the match. If you go to the ropes, you lose one of them. That's like a timeout in sports. You get 3 of them. After you get those 3, if you exhaust all 3, then the rope break rule does not apply anymore to you, which means if a submission should happen, if you decide to go on the rope, there is no rope break. You're stuck. There's nothing you can do. Basically, Pure Rules is by pin or submission if you win the match.
And on top of that, in addition to the Pure Rules and all that, they brought in the voice of Ring of Honor, Ian Riccaboni.
It's Ian Riccaboni, not
Ian
Riccaboni.
Riccaboni.
It's Riccaboni. Get it
Riccaboni.
right.
I'm new to Ring of Honor, so Ian Riccaboni sat in with Tom Hanafan and D'Lo Brown, and they also brought in the ring announcer from Ring of Honor, Bobby Cruz.
Yes.
He was the ring announcer for the match as well. But the winner of the match in 12 minutes and 40 seconds, and still the Ring of Honor World Champion, Jonathan Gresham, with a beautiful bridge move to win the match. All right. The only criticism I have is Impact probably could have done a better job of prepping the audience for the difference in rules, but Riccaboni, Hanafan, and D'Lo did a great job of laying them out as the match went along. Chris Saban is one of the best wrestlers in the company's 2-decade history and has been in his fair share of high-profile bouts. Jonathan Gresham, in his first opportunity to make a name for himself in front of Impact fans, earned their respect with tenacity and a mat game matched only by his opponent. Saban saved face by way of his controversial non-victory, while Gresham came back to win the bout and retain the title fairly and squarely. Second superb match in a row as Impact set the table for a hell of a show still to come at that point. 4 stars, no doubt about that. So with that being said, we move on. Josh Alexander versus Jonah. Winner of the match, 17 minutes and 5 seconds. Josh Alexander. What an incredible physical battle between two hated foes. Incredible wrestling match, an unbridled horse fight, be a man fight that built through higher stakes spots until Jonah missed and Alexander took advantage. The growth and evolution of the walking weapon over the last year has been nothing short of extraordinary. He has shaken all doubts that he could succeed at the top level of competition as a singles competitor and is undeniably the man in the company. Another run with the top prize awaiting him sooner rather than later. Jonah loses nothing here. If anything, he can make the argument that he lived to see another day rather than risking a severely damaged ankle. Who knows if he makes another appearance for the company, but if he doesn't, he should earn rave reviews for helping drag greater aggression and toughness out of Alexander and what was a key win on his journey back to the world title. Hardcore War, 10-man. Think War Games without the double rings and steel cages. 2 men start. Another entered from teams in alternating order. The first 2 guys started were alone for 3 minutes. And then every 90 seconds thereafter, another competitor entered. No winner until all 10 men entered. Only way to win by pinfall or submission. Most importantly, no disqualifications. It was the Good Brothers, the World Tag Team Champions, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, and VBD, Violent by Design, Eric Young, Joe Doring, and Diener, against Heath Slater, Rhino, Eddie Edwards, Willie Mack, and Rich Swann. And the winners of the match in 23 minutes and 25 seconds. The babyface team wins the match. But wait, something happened after the match. And MF, I'm going to bring you back in on this. I think we are in the midst of a full-blown Ring of Honor invasion. Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis, they're back in Impact, but wait, they brought some friends with them. PCO, Pierre Carl Ouellette, Vincent, Vinny Marcellia, and this last name, MF, I know you know very well, Matt Taven. You know that guy very well. I know you do.
Ring of Honor former Ring of Honor World Champion, PCO Ring of Honor World Champion. We know Mike Bennett and we know Maria Kanellis, so we know them really well. And Vincent, who the heck let him into the building? That guy's a certifiable nut job in Ring of Honor.
He certainly is. Yeah, I saw that guy and I'm like, who is this guy? This guy's a damn freak.
Oh yeah, he's tapped in the head. And PCO, I cannot believe they let him in. PCO is like, that was the one guy I damn near freaked when I saw him. Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, part of the PCO as they were chanting it. They were originally part of the group The Kingdom,
Yep.
which was also affiliated with one Adam Cole.
Yep.
Now, that used to be the crew. Cole, Taven, Bennett, and Maria. They all were together. They all were tight. That makes me wonder what could happen down the line. Could we see Mike Bennett and Taven? Now they do sometimes they do merge and they do go around, but that forbidden door, man, you never know when that thing swings open. There's been some rumors going around about certain guys maybe going through the forbidden door. So who knows how this plays out, but we know WWE is about to use the forbidden door with Impact Wrestling to bring Mickie James. So who knows?
And I even read a dirt sheet earlier saying that they may be considering doing the same thing on the men's side. Now, nothing's been leaked, and I don't think anything's going to be leaked, but we might get a forbidden door entry on the men's side of the Royal Rumble. So stay tuned. But anyways, wow. 3.5 to 4 stars. The ring was a bit too packed with talent at more than one point in this one, but the wild and chaotic brawl was a nice change of pace after 3 killer wrestling matches. It represented something else Impact does extremely well, settled some scores and put Rhino and Heath, Championship Committee moment, over as the next challengers to the Good Brothers tag titles. More importantly, introduced the stars of Ring of Honor to the fray. Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, Vincent, and PCO, along with Maria Kanellis, immediately injected a sense of uncertainty within the company. Is Impact in the midst of a full-blown ROH invasion? Might this be the start of another partnership between the company and the much-discussed Forbidden Door? That Scott D'Amore put over having no knowledge of what happened and vowing to call Baltimore only strengthens the mystery and will keep fans engaged, waiting for answers. Triple threat match for the Impact World Championship. Moose defending against Matt Cardona and W. Morrissey. Winner of the match in an even 16 minutes, and still the Impact World Heavyweight Champion Moose. If you enjoyed the hell out of the Attitude Era main events, you love this. Story-heavy brawl that used ref bumps to protect Cardona and Morrissey, interjected Chelsea Green into the proceedings to pay off the errant chair shot angle from earlier in the feud, and most importantly, provided Moose a hell of a successful title defense. Probably could have spared one of the ref bumps and still been incredibly effective, but that's nitpicking. A feud that arrived at the pay-per-view riding a solid storyline, culminated in a match that exceeded expectations and proved that the top of the Impact card is strong, healthy, and deep, especially when you take into consideration Josh Alexander, the ROH newcomers, and potentially Jonah. I got to give this in excess of 4.25, maybe 4.5 stars. Main event of the evening, the Texas Death Match for the Knockouts World Championship. Champion Mickie James defending against challenger and former 2-time champion in her own right, the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. Gail Kim laid out an edict earlier in the show saying that if Matthew Raywalt interfered during the match, Raywalt would be fired and Purrazzo would be disqualified. Thankfully, that did not happen. Winner of the match, 19 minutes and 40 seconds, and still the Knockouts World Champion, Mickie James. She'll take the title into the Rumble. It'll be very interesting to see if she brings the belt with her when we get to St. Louis, but all right. The only problem I have with the match was the stipulation. Now, when it comes to death matches, the object is to beat your opponent absolutely senseless so they until they cannot enter a 10 count. That was still in effect mostly, but in true Impact form, they PG'd the hell out of this thing. Because what happened here was Purrazzo and James had to get a pinfall or a submission, and then the referee would start the 10 count. Really? Stupid. Absolutely stupid, if I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't like that at all. But other than that little nitpick, Impact Wrestling put an emphasis on women's wrestling Saturday night, bookending its first pay-per-view of 2022 with historic matches featuring its immensely talented Knockouts division. The effort by The effort by Mickie James and Deonna Purrazzo was off the charts here as they brought the appropriate physicality and violence to a feud that has been the hottest in the company for 3 months now. The use of the weaponry was on point, and in the context of the story heading into the show, Ray Walt interfering made sense. James winning the match and showing tremendous intestinal fortitude while doing so, fighting off a body punctured by thumbtacks and a failed attempt by Purrazzo to play mind games to retain her title ahead of a Royal Rumble appearance. Was everything perfect? No. Did the bounce back chair shot by Purrazzo have the impact it should have leading to the finish? No. But that's where the charm is. It wasn't the polished, pretty wrestling match we get elsewhere. It felt natural and blemished the way any emotionally intense battle would. It helped in the long run and helped elevate the quality. It'll be interesting to see who steps up to Mickie next, with Tasha Steelz having won Ultimate X. But Ring of Honor Women's Champ Roxy, she was in the crowd during this match. And she also made her presence felt in the main event. Mystery creates intrigue and helps fuel strong television. The coming weeks on Impact Wrestling should be a hell of a lot of fun, especially for fans of women's wrestling. I'm still gonna rate it 4.25 to 4.5 stars. Not quite the 5. I'm not gonna give it the 5 because of the ridiculous stipulation, but it's definitely one of the top fights of the night for sure. So I will give this in excess of 8.5 to 9 out of 10. This was a fantastic pay-per-view. I mean, other than the stipulation for the death match there, I thought all the other matches were solid to good to great, and it was a fun pay-per-view. I mean, I love those surprises, especially those Ring of Honor folks showing up. I've read the spoilers, and all I can say is some very interesting things are going to go down on Impact TV over the next coming weeks. I'm not going to drop anything of that here. I'm going to drop it when it's right. So that's all there is to say on that. So 8.5 to 9, and that is going to put the bow on this very exciting edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We'll be back with you Wednesday night over on the MF channel, BraceFan 95, for another edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem, NXT 2.0, AEW Dynamite. It's going to be back to reality shows for both after those epic shows they both put forth last week. Thursday, like I said, strictly sports. We will recap the national championship game and preview the 6 Super Wildcard Weekend NFL playoff games. And then from there, Friday night, we got the Cerebral Smack Talk, MF, as we will review Friday Night SmackDown and AEW Rampage. We'll see if he has a Mikey's mindset. And then right back here a week from the night as we continue on the road to the Royal Rumble for another Ridiculously Raw. And my normal Tony's Take will be back with Impact Wrestling and 205 Live. So that's it. So until Wednesday night, for Wednesday Night Mayhem over on MF's channel, BraceFan 95, Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, Dee Woodson, and of course the man who put this all together 10 years ago, the one and only Derek Ferrera. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune Force style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days, and until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and Streamer.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.